Right. We're live?
Are we? That is the question.
Well, I'm going to copy this link and I'm going to open an incognito tab. And YouTube says we're live. Let me make sure I can hear both of us once it loads.
Yeah, watch my audio cut out.
I know, right? I'm just gonna drink the rest of this whiskey and just call it a night.
Yeah.
We're
Like,
just gonna
well,
transition to
we're gonna try again.
to an off-air YouTube says conversation. we're live.
We're gonna try it again next
Let
week.
me make sure I can hear both of us.
Thank you everybody for
once it
participating.
loads.
Yeah, watch my audio cut out.
I know, right? I'm just gonna drink the rest of this whiskey and just call it a night.
Yeah.
Okay, good. It's working. I got confused. I thought you actually just said the same thing you did a few seconds back because the volume is exactly the same.
Oh, so you're getting the perfect replay.
We did it. We set up a live stream, and it only took us 47 minutes.
Yes, 5:47 p.m. on the West Coast.
Yeah,
We've
it's almost
done it.
9 o'clock here. Yes. Cheers. All right. We have not.
I can't see your video, but
yeah, I know.
hopefully
We'll fix that
whoever
next
watches
time.
this
We'll fix
can.
it. We'll fix it next time. We've not done a podcast in a while, and part of that is because we just put too much pressure on it. So we're like, why not just for old techies in the crowd, Dig Nation style this thing. We'll drink a couple of good whiskeys and just talk finance stuff, right? And apparently live stream it.
And whatever else we want to talk about. But wait,
Yeah.
how old do you have to be to know what dignation is?
Dude, not that old. It's not that old.
Is it at least like mid-30s?
You know
Something
Reddit?
around there?
It was like what Reddit stole. That was Dig. Oh.
So what happened? I can't see your video.
Because Reddit stole Dig.
Oh.
It was a dig at Reddit.
Oh, I get it.
Dude, this is what you
now.
get when you get late night podcasts from me. You get bad jokes.
I've got a couple of those queued up for this as well.
Good. You got those written down on a little notepad?
Yeah, I got it.
Perfect.
It's actually on my
You've
whiteboard.
been working on it for a while.
I wrote it down so I could just turn around and point to the joke.
Okay, so we officially put an offer in on a house.
Another one. What number is this?
I don't know. Am I supposed to keep track? This is
4? 3? 4?
Let's see. You put one offer in, and I think this is now my third. So our fourth house we put an offer in on this year.
Fourth time is the charm.
Fourth time's the charm. That's what they. Well, technically it's the third one for me. So third time's the charm. And your next offer won't work.
My next offer won't work?
No, because you got to get to 3, and you're only at your first offer.
Oh.
So
maybe I should just go do one now.
yeah,
Like
just make an offer.
grossly.
No, because that would massively backfire.
Yeah. But what if it actually works out well?
You
like
offer
I
$1.
undercut that, not even that, just like make somewhat realistic, like $20,000 shy. Say $50,000 shy.
You think you could find a realtor that would submit an offer for you at $1?
What if I'm the realtor?
Let's do it. I mean, you know I'm talking about that.
You're gonna get known as like the lowball. He's like, you're gonna be known as like the Craigslist realtor. The lowballer.
The low baller.
The lowballer realtor.
Oh, goodness.
Okay, yeah, we got an offer on another house in Florida. Land O'Lakes.
Yes, Land O'
Which
Lakes.
I didn't think was a real place. I only thought it was on butter.
Sorry, YouTube was just yelling at me. It's like, your stream resolution isn't good enough. You know what, YouTube? It's our first time. It's our first time. Just calm down. Yeah, we put the offer in.
3 people are going to watch this over the course of the next 10 years. So this one is just going to be
that's impressive.
I said over the next like decade.
I know. That's impressive.
It's probably going to be on accident. So if you're here now and it's 2030.
What happened? Tell us what happened. Hop in the live stream and tell us what happened.
Summarize it for us.
Okay, so this house is different than what we've been looking at. It's like what
It
we
is.
talked for probably like an hour yesterday, just deciding whether we should go for it.
Yeah, we were trying to rate it based on all the things that we look at, from cash flow to appreciation to even we, this was the most I've talked about HOA fees before.
Yeah, yeah, which are wow, we'll get there. So
Yeah.
this house is like immaculate. Like this is a move-in ready, like top-notch house in a good neighborhood, great neighborhood.
Which is usually not, we go for great neighborhoods, but we try and find a shitty house in a
Yeah, we want
neighborhood
something
that's
that looks
selling.
like crap that's going to take like 10, 15K to fix up, but this is like it's hard to justify putting any money into fix up.
So why did we, I guess, how did we decide on making the offer for this one?
Well, I just really wanted to buy a house, really.
All right,
That's kind of
cool.
all it comes down to.
What
No,
else
no,
do
no,
we
no.
want to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, part of the reason we put an offer in on this house, though, is the market has very little supply right now. The supply has died down a ton over the last 6 months. So we really only have had a couple of options, and we want to buy a house by the end of the year. So part of this was just me trying to convince us that it made sense without it actually making sense. But it does actually. And with the new mortgage numbers that we got yesterday, a 3.25% interest rate, the cash flow's not horrible. Okay, it's pretty bad. It's pretty
It's
bad.
not it's not a cash flowing property.
No. Well, I
That was
mean,
what we were getting.
it's not a
Well,
positive
not for a
cash
while.
flowing property.
Yeah. So I guess
It does
here's the
cash.
question.
It does flow
What?
cash, just in the wrong direction.
Yeah. I guess here's the better question that we should answer is, or explain why we're still doing this. Why are we making an offer on a house that is not positively cash flowing from day one?
Because appreciation.
Yes. Yeah.
Appreciation. So like, I mean, I told you I was watching this video, Meet Kevin video the other day, and he was talking about how everyone's in one of two stages financially. Like one is the retired, living off my investments. That's when cash flow is really important and great. The other is in building and growing your wealth. And if you want to do that, like appreciation is where it's at. Because we did the math. So the first year we're probably gonna lose about $2,400, if I remember right, in cash flow. But we're gonna accumulate about, I think it was 12 to 15,000 in equity.
Hmm.
So net, we're expecting about a 10K bump in asset value every year.
Yep. And I think when we went through the spreadsheet, the part that we ultimately cared about was that internal rate of return around years 7 and 10, which was like what, 9 or 10% return, even though it didn't cash flow from day one.
Yeah, and I mean this is a little lower on the IRR. A lot of the other properties we'd made offers on in the past were in the 10 to 12 range at year 10. So it's a little bit lower. Like I think it's a little bit more of a risky property than we've been looking at. But like I said, we used to pull up those Redfin saved searches, and they would have like 30 plus properties on them. Like there were so many I couldn't get through them all. I pulled up those saved searches the other day. It was like 4 on one and 2 on the other. There's just nothing available. And I really want to close on a house this year. So we submitted the offer. We'll see. We'll see if it gets accepted or not. Anticipating it will, but who knows?
Yeah. So fingers crossed. Hopefully by the time you're watching this in 2030, we have gotten
Yeah,
that property and
yeah.
others.
Hit us up and ask what that IRR ended up being.
We're like, yeah, we sold it after the second year.
Yeah. No, we sold that on week 2, I think it was.
But because of the price and the comps, even if we bought it and then sold it on day one, we could technically be okay. That was the other reason why we decided to go with it.
Theoretically, yes, we could.
Yes. This is all theoretical because we have not done it yet.
Yeah, exactly. We have spreadsheets that tell us things that we don't know if they're real or not.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. What whiskey are you drinking tonight?
Russell's Reserve. It's a
Russell's
bourbon.
Reserve. Who makes that?
I do Russell's Reserve. No, I'm just kidding. Wild Turkey.
Wild Turkey. Is it
Yeah,
a bourbon?
it is a bourbon. Yeah.
Bourbon. Nice.
So I am not a whiskey aficionado, nor do I know much about it. But my cousin who is gifted me this bottle, and I will say it's good. I can't tell you like the notes or anything, but it just tastes good. There's my
That's
summary.
that's all that matters. So I've been watching this. I've been watching
Yeah.
this channel, the Whiskey Vault, lately, and they have this saying. They're like the best whiskey is the one you like, the way you like having it. I'm like, dude, that's
Oh,
great. That's amazing.
I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah,
I'm gonna put that on a board right here
yeah. They're like, if
for
if you
later.
like ordering it with like half water, order it with half water. They're like, don't do that, but order with half water.
Yeah, you got to draw the line
Yeah,
somewhere.
don't. I mean, don't do that. Like, I'm more of a snob than they are. I'll give you that. Like, don't do that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
kind of like
I'm on this. Well, you've had a bottle of this, right? The Caribbean cask.
yes. I have had multiple
Multiple
bottles
bottles of that
because of at one in one sitting because of the
in one
the time.
sitting.
Just kidding.
That cannot be true.
That is not true. Probably would not
You
be
would
here if that was
not
the
be
case.
alive today.
We tried it at 55 South, and I was sold in downtown San Jose,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
when we were both
I
living in
was
San
just
Jose, which we
thinking
do
about
not.
that place. I was just thinking how much I miss 55 South and occasionally Paper Plane.
That was actually quite nice when we had that downtown San
Yeah,
Jose office, and we could
yeah.
just walk there.
The good old days. The good old days.
I realize now this is the first podcast where neither of us are in San Jose.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Because you just moved not long ago. I'm like, what are you talking
I
about? We've
just
done a
moved,
podcast
yeah.
since I moved to Connecticut. But yeah, now
I'm
you're in a
still
new spot.
I'm still in the most flammable state in the United States,
The most
but
flammable with the highest taxes. They're like,
yes,
give us half your money. Also, you're going to have to use the other half to fix fire damage.
yes. So for the audience of us, I moved to the south. I moved to the
Well,
south
the the
of
the
California.
more southern part of California. Like, move
I
to the
moved to the
south. You're getting a
of
little aggressive
California.
there. Yeah.
I said I moved to the south of California. How come nobody refers to it like that?
Because it's California. You're still in California. Dude, I can't believe the income taxes in California. I still can't. The pay raise I got when I left California was astonishing. And Connecticut doesn't have great taxes. That's amazing.
We got to go to no income tax.
Tell me about
Washington State, Texas. How many are
it.
there?
Las
I only know
Vegas.
Washington State and Texas. Oh, Nevada?
Las
That's
Vegas.
close enough.
Las Vegas has no income tax. So Kimmy was talking about how she might want to consider getting back into like the film space a bit. And we have a friend that's in. It's like she does sports casting, I believe it is, and she's in Las Vegas. I'm like, well, if you want to move to Las Vegas, there's no income tax, so I'm sold.
I mean, I'll meet you there. It's only a 4-hour drive away from me,
Right?
from the south
It gets so hot there, though.
of California.
It gets
I
so
mean,
hot.
it was 108 here yesterday, and it was 100 degrees today.
Well,
So
so you're paying 50% taxes and getting the heat. That's the worst.
I
of
don't
both
really,
worlds.
I don't really care about heat anymore. I'm used
I
to it.
forgot. Yeah, we lived down in Riverside for a few months, and it did get crazy hot down there.
It's weird how, if we drive, so we're near Pomona, which is very
Mm-hmm.
inland. If you drive like 40 miles towards the coast, I'm not even sure if that's far, 20 to 40 miles, like temperatures will drop dramatically. Like once you're in this little inland piece, the heat and everything just sits.
Yeah.
It just sits in these valleys because there's a ton of hills and everything, and it just sits.
That's crazy.
And you just sweat.
Yeah.
Nuts.
I remember it. It was awful. Kimmy had a coaching job out there. We lived there for like 2 or 3 months, and I just worked from the apartment. The only time I left was to take our dog on a walk, and it was like 110 degrees. It was horrible. It was horrible.
Yeah, no thanks.
Riverside. So here's the topic I want to talk about tonight. I want to talk about risk. So
Risk.
I talked to you a little bit about this a couple days ago, I think. So I think it's really awesome that a lot of the world is getting a lot more financial literacy, that they are trying to invest more. But I think the advice that's being given to them, and that's not necessarily a fault of the people giving the advice. It's just the culture that is created in this investment, financial, independent fire sort of world is way too risk averse. Like I saw a post on Reddit the other day. This 15-year-old kid saved up $500 and he wanted to know how to invest it. In the very first answer, in the top post on there was like, put it into like VTI. Which, for those that don't know, it's just like a diversified ETF.
Is that the Vanguard one?
Yeah, it's a Vanguard total stock, I believe it is.
Mm.
Or it's the Vanguard S&P, but I think it's a total stock. But I don't invest in it because it's not risky enough. But I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, all right, okay. So this kid has $500. He's 15. He very likely, based on his post, he doesn't have any like extenuating circumstances where he like got kicked out of his family's house or anything like that, where he's got to support himself, right? It's just a kid, probably like mowed lawns to save up $500, now wants to turn it into more. So the people on there like, go put it into VTI, because that's the advice that we regurgitate. So this kid's going to go put it into VTI. He's going to earn 6% a year. He's going to make $30 his first year. He's going to be like, what is this investing nonsense? This is a waste of time. I make more mowing a yard.
It's probably like I could have bought X amount of weed for that much. But...
Yeah. And who knows? Maybe it would have paid off. But he's so young and doesn't need that money. I'm assuming a lot of things here, right? I'm assuming a lot of things, but I see this sort of advice a lot. Like, so young, doesn't need the money. Why is he not being advised to go do something a lot more risky? Like this goes a little bit back to the cash flow and appreciation conversation we just had, right? Cash flow is super safe. Well, theoretically, there's some reasons that it's not, but it's super safe. And you get that paycheck, it's nice, it's awesome. You got to pay taxes on it, which is horrible. But the way you're going to grow your net worth and your wealth in a reasonably fast pace is by appreciation. And more importantly, leveraged appreciation, right? Because if we took that house that we were going to buy, 265, we bought it for cash, we would only be getting about 3-ish% theoretically in value a year. So we'd get 265 over 3, like $8,000 a year. But because we're only putting down about 70,000, I did that backwards. Hold on. It's an 11% return. So instead of 3%, we're getting 11% by doing that. And yeah, it's more risky taking leverage, and we're not even as leveraged as we could be. You know, my primary residences I'd like to buy that are good investments and only 5% down, but couldn't do that with this one. Wish I could have. But anyways, my point is that like everything is too risk averse right now, and I'm curious what your thoughts are, what your risk tolerance is, because I know it's different from mine, and just general thoughts on this.
Well, I think that Reddit thread, I agree. Like if that kid, it's a kid. So
right.
Like it ties into how I am. I'm not being real risky right now with my investments, just because I still do it through Wealthfront, just because I'm a little more hands off. But within Wealthfront, they simplify it so much. There's a slider.
Yep. That
will say like, you know, how risky do you want to be?
Yep.
I have mine all the way
good
to the risky side.
That's good.
So
most people won't.
It's like and I am only doing that, and much like this kid, I'm only being risky because I have time. Presumably, I have time before I retire
yep.
to make up any losses and be a little more risky,
Yeah.
risk it big, win big. So like maybe as I'm older and maybe 20, 30 years from now, I'll tone it back. I'll maybe put it like to the middle or a little further to the safe side, just because, if I'm getting ready to retire and just want to live off of whatever my investment is, I don't want it to tank the
Yeah.
next day because I'm
Totally.
playing it way too risky. So I think it's a matter of like, what's your horizon of time that you plan to invest? And if it's a really long time and you have time, like a kid, then be risky.
Yeah.
Because like if that kid was like, well, yeah, I want to be risky, I'll buy some like Tesla and some other stuff. Like
Yeah, go
I
full
think
Wall Street bets. At 15 years old, go full Wall Street bets. That place gets a lot
yeah,
of jokes made, but those guys are risk takers.
yeah. Like if I were that kid, like $500, he's gonna make that in a week at his first full-time job.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Well, and
it's
I should say too,
I don't
like
know if that's true, but yeah,
the like tolerance of risk isn't even just in your stock portfolio. So the way you just described, you drag the slider all the way over to like most aggressive, right? The
yeah,
personal capital is what I use to manage all my whole. I'm a lot more hands on than Wealthfront, but I manage it very similarly, and they have a slider too, and I'm exactly where that is. So I'm not actually any more risky in my stock investments than you are. But where I think you and I are both taking a lot more risks is in like starting a business. We're working on the real estate business. I'm also working on another business that is very risky. I also started another startup that it currently holds millions of dollars of my wealth that could go to zero tomorrow. That's very risky, but the reward is extremely high. And to like, I don't know, to get where I want to go, you got to take like huge, huge risks. And I think, again, it's great that people are caring about investing now, but we need to have the risk conversation.
yeah. I think anybody around our age, we are a little older, so maybe I don't know, it might be different for them. But anyone around my age should be taking some risks, or could be taking risks, and
Should
like
be.
be
Should be
okay.
taking like
Yeah,
aggressive risks.
yeah.
Because here's the thing,
Now,
like what's the worst case? You take all of your money, you put it on a Tesla call option. What's the worst case?
yeah. What is the worst case?
You just start over.
I would think. Well, put it this way: if you're my age, say like right about 30, I wouldn't risk it all. I would allocate like, what are you okay with losing? Like maybe it's like 5%, 10%, and maybe play some bigger bets there, but don't play it 100% safe. Is like that's how I'm doing mine. I'm like I'm not. It's not. I'm not doing it 100% safe, but there's some of it where it's like what is the thing when you're like day trading, like a stop loss or
Yep.
something like that. Like you never, yeah, you're gonna have some sort of stop loss in your investments.
As long as I believe in it and it's got a high enough reward, I'm willing to do it.
Yeah, Trey, on the risk scale, this is the most risky right here. Trey is over here.
Well, so here's the thing. Like, let me list a couple of things that I'm not going to risk. I'm not going to risk us losing our home, and I'm not going to risk me losing a paycheck that will pay for my family's living. Everything else is
Fair.
on the table.
That's fair.
I mean, I sent you a screenshot today. My M1 Finance total balance today. Of course, the market's closed low, so it's below this now, but it passed $250,000.
Yeah,
All of those
it's a
dollars
big
are on the
milestone.
table for me to use and invest with in various ways.
But you still have like your emergency fund and those things too.
Mostly, but I've used a little bit of it to buy this house. I'm gonna have to tap into it probably another 10 or 20,000. I'm gonna have like maybe 2 months of emergency fund at this point because like I built up this like 6-month emergency fund, and it was almost like eating me away inside at how not risky it was. Especially where the market was, right? This was like back in March when the market was like at its lowest. So
Yeah.
I took 3 months of my 6 month emergency fund and funneled it in the market, and I'm sure freaking glad I did that now. And then it's slowly been whittling away, right? Like emergency fund, where I'm at with my job, I'm fairly stable there. So like I don't want to get rid of an emergency fund, but I also have credit lines and stocks and things like that I can sell to get rid of if I need. I have a $140,000 stock portfolio. I could sell all of that tomorrow if I had a real emergency.
Yeah.
So yes, my cash emergency fund is extremely low, and I'm tapping into it, and I've actually considered just getting rid of it. And this conversation may lead me to entirely get rid of it, and then we have to have a conversation about emergency funds.
Yeah. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of
very good
emergency
video.
funds.
Me Kevin also has a very good video on this. I think I sent it to you a while ago. But to summarize his like high level concept of emergency fund is it is liquid assets that you can immediately use to cover an emergency, which actually most stock accounts, but especially a taxable stock account will cover. Like what's your stock portfolio right now? Roughly.
Like, what do you like as far as like who's managed? Oh, like around 50.
Yeah.
50,000.
So like if you had a big medical emergency that your insurance wouldn't cover tomorrow, you could sell all that and have $50,000, and you would have that money in like 3 days.
That is true.
So that's why, there's also especially with the interest rates going down now, like Ally's at 0.8, which is still crushing everyone else in the market. But 0.8, like I got into the savings game back at like 2.1. Like 0.8 is nothing. So it's like, do I want to keep that money just sitting there doing absolutely nothing when like I could be flowing it into my stock portfolio, which is doing great? And yeah, it could go down, but it also could go up.
It could. Risk.
I think more people need to take more risk. But also the less risk you take, the more opportunity I have. So
we can talk about what at least we're doing.
What are we doing?
We're being risky.
We are. Dude, starting a business is the most risky thing.
Well, cheers to that.
Oh man. Yeah.
I was gonna say the most risky thing is like doing nothing.
Why is that the most risky thing?
Because I feel like inaction is so much worse than taking action.
But why is it risky?
Well, how do we define risk? Let's look it up.
Next question. How do you define risk? For me, risk is taking an action. No, okay. So how can I define this without using the word risk, right? Is taking an action that on one side of the outcomes could cause you to lose things. And the amount of risk is dependent on how many things you could lose.
Okay. I like that.
Under that definition, doing nothing seems very unlikely to lose you anything.
So I guess it isn't as risky to do nothing.
There's no reward to it either.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of times when people are talking about risk, they're really talking about ROI.
Yeah.
The risk to reward.
Right.
Because like I just said, like everything's on the table except for my salary and my home, but I'm not just going to put it on the table with no like relevant reward. Right. I'm not taking it.
Yeah.
To go back to day trading terminology, I'm not taking a trade that could potentially turn, 1-to-1 profit with a 5-to-1 risk. You're not going to win that way.
Right.
So the reward is a big is a big portion of this here, actually. So I'm curious, like a VTI investment, to go back to the very beginning of this conversation. It's a like I would say it's like a low to medium risk reward investment. Whereas like a Tesla call option is a high risk reward, but it's still got the
Right.
reward there. And actually the risk can be mitigated pretty heavily. I bought an option the other day just because Wall Street Bets encouraged me to do it. I bought a put option on Aurora Cannabis.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So if Aurora Cannabis gets down below $8 by I think what is it, September 4th, then I should make a decent profit on that. But if it doesn't, I lost $20. Also, when I say decent profit, I should quantify that. Like it'll turn $20 into maybe 100, which is a great percentage return. Not a huge dollar amount because
Not usually.
I
Yeah.
don't know the instrument of options all that well, right? Like understanding the instruments of which you're investing with, I think is really important too. Like if I'm starting a software company, which I'm working on doing right now, I'm able to to risk a lot more in there because I know the instrument really well.
Right.
When it comes to options, I don't know it very well. When it comes to real estate, even we're a lot more cautious in real estate than I think you'll see that we will be in 5 years.
That's just because we haven't done it
Exactly.
yet.
Exactly. By doing it, you learn it. And when you learn it, it becomes instinct, right? Like, I mean, just look at the difference in us from analyzing properties from day one to now. I mean,
Yeah.
we have half of it automated.
Yeah, you built some cool tools around analyzing properties.
So just like imagine where we're at in 5 years when we're branching out to vacation rentals,
Mm-hmm.
going to our second Monaco race.
Yeah, there's the reward.
Yeah. For context, for the two people that are listening in 2030, when we hit 10 properties, we're going to the Monaco Grand Prix. Sometimes you got to give yourself your own reward.
Yeah. That'll be a good one.
That'll be a really good one. The question is, how quickly can we build up the properties? I thought we were going to be able to get 3 this year, but then, there was a little thing that happened.
Little thing called coronavirus. The old
Little thing
virus.
called coronavirus. Little thing called my house cost a lot more than I expected. A little thing called you moving.
Moving.
There were a lot of things that happened that dwindled the funds and dwindled the market.
But yeah, that and a little the pay decrease during COVID hurt a little bit too. But,
Dude, that's unfortunate.
but hey, it was for the better because we didn't have to lay anybody off. So that worked out well.
That is worth it then.
Yeah. It was well played.
Yeah. What else you want to talk about tonight?
I put together a deck.
Oh, you're talking about decks.
For a presentation that I wanted to give about. Does my screen share work?
Yeah, it would.
Let me try
I'm
this.
kind of scared about what you're about to pull up. Should I delay the YouTube stream a little bit?
I don't know yet.
Talking about decks and about to screen share something.
We'll see. Let's let it ride.
All right, do it up.
I want to make sure it can be seen.
Let's see. Hold on 1 second. See us. Okay. Hold on. You're like, I just barely got this thing working. Now you're like, well, let's just see what happens if I really throw him off his game.
Let's really try it.
How do I hide this one? Hold on. I'm still working on it. Order. Yeah, order, move down. It didn't do anything. move to bottom. Order move to top. There we go. All right. We got it.
Well, I want to see it pop up on the live stream. There it is. Yes. All right. Are you ready for this?
I don't know. What's happening?
I put this together in about 5 minutes because I thought of something. Okay. This is like our ideal bank, right? It's a new type of bank.
Are you talking about the Financial Illiterates Bank?
Like no. It's going to be perfect. Watch.
Okay.
So it's the first social bank.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
Designed to connect people who want to make money.
Exactly.
It's designed to make them earn profit for the businesses and individuals who are part of it.
Okay.
It's designed to help boost the economy and invest in many different sectors.
Yeah.
Kind of like a hedge fund.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Right? It's designed to help businesses generate revenue through a consulting service.
Okay. Yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And the ultimate outcome is money.
All right.
So we're calling this the sperm bank.
Please go get a trademark on this. Because one of your goals is to eventually start a bank. And so I need to move you. Hold on. Please.
So yeah, that was it.
It was worth my effort to move us around. There we go. That's kind of cool. I can just like drag stuff around on the screen. You're going to need to go get a trademark on that, because if we do ever open a bank, it's going to be called that.
I like how you were just like, yeah, sure, that makes sense. Yep, that makes sense.
It does. It all makes sense. I mean, those seem like obvious goals for a bank, especially a modern bank with that cool color scheme.
That was a really cool deck.
It was a cool deck. And it had a real zinger at the end of it.
Yeah,
I told you drinking whiskey during this was going to be helpful.
Yeah, that was a little lunch break project.
Good. So you're being productive.
Yeah, that was
good.
That was over some orange chicken, some Trader Joe's orange chicken
that sounds so
put
good.
that together. Now, that's just a really fancy template I found. I spent no time on designing it.
Oh, I expected nothing less.
Yeah.
Risk versus reward.
Yeah, I decided to risk it with that joke of a bank, but maybe it could be. I think the founding principles are very sound. The acronym for it, is suspect.
They are very sound. Yeah, I think you could structure the acronym in a way that people don't immediately notice.
Maybe.
Oh man, we could go way too many bad directions with this.
Yeah. I don't know what else.
Yeah, I mean, finance stuff. Like, I think like that's probably lots of stuff. I'm hoping we get that house. This whiskey was good. I like this format. We'll get the live streaming down. Maybe we'll be like professional live streamers one day. Probably not, but
next time it will only take 20 minutes to set up.
Yeah. Next time I'm going to be in my basement because I don't think I told you they finished the floor.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I was hoping to get moved in down there today, but that did not happen. So next time I will be in my dope basement with new floors and all that other stuff, and the bar is down there that I need to stock up, and yeah. So I don't know. I hope like the 3 people in 2030 enjoyed this. Assuming YouTube's still around, but
maybe they could actually put their money in the sperm bank.
Yeah, Tell us a couple of things. Tell us, is the sperm bank all you hoped it would be, and is it still around? Tell us if we got that 9% IRR on this property. And I feel like there was one other thing they were supposed to tell us. I don't know.
Tell us your favorite whiskey.
Tell us your favorite whiskey. There you go. What is your favorite whiskey right now?
Caribbean Cask is still one of my favorites.
Okay.
but my cousin also gave me some George T. Stagg.
Oh, that's a good one.
That was that was the first time I had a whiskey that was
That's a bourbon,
known
right?
to be very good. I believe so.
This from the
Not
same guy that
100%
gave
sure.
you the Russells?
Yes.
Okay. So he's a bourbon
Yes.
guy.
Yeah, and that comes from Buffalo Trace, which
Okay.
I like Buffalo Trace as well.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. So of the categories, my favorite is probably currently a rye, with bourbon a close second place.
Mm.
Favorite rye? I don't know. That's a tough one. I think we'll do like a little whiskey minute here, I guess. Um, Probably one of the High West. I always order James E. Pepper when
Oh
I go
yeah,
to a bar, which is good. But like the High West Yippee Ki is a really good one. Really spicy. You gotta
I
like
really like that one
you
too.
got you gotta like a little kick in the face if you're gonna have a rye. Uh, Bourbon, probably Angel's Envy, hands down. And yeah, when it comes to Scotch, this Balvenie Caribbean cask, there's no competition for me. I love Speysides way more than anything else because they're sweeter, which makes sense why I like bourbons and ryes. So there it is. That's my brain dump of stuff, and I have a giant list of whiskeys, and we're gonna have to start buying some new ones and trying some new ones on this show. I have a list of like
Good
25 to buy.
man. I can't believe we just did episode 123. This was a crazy episode.
Episode 33, not 123, 33. I don't know where you came up with that.
Yep,
Yeah,
that was at the bottom of
but dude,
that was at the bottom of my whiskey.
it was episode 33 though.
That is
We've done a lot of these.
of episodes that
Incredibly
we published.
inconsistent, but but a lot of them. And hopefully now that we have no pressure on this, we'll start doing more.
Yeah, we're here just talking like we
Yeah.
usually talk.
Yeah, exactly. So
Except when we usually talk, it doesn't take 45 minutes to set up. But
yeah, no, it shouldn't take 45 minutes to set up next time. Like sometimes it just takes a while to get going, you know? All right, with that, we're going to wrap this up.
all right.
I mean, we should do the usual outro, right? As usual, you can find us on Twitter, Gustin Jabriel, Trobrock, thefinancialilliterates.com, and I will be ripping this audio straight out of the video and putting it on the podcast where you can listen to it at your pleasure. I don't know why on earth you would want to listen to this in audio format, but you can at all your favorite places. And that's it for this time. Let us know if you liked it. And it won't matter because I will be 50 by the time you do that. Right? 2030?
Oh, man.
Nah, 2030. No, I'll be 43. Ooh. Ooh.
That's all right. I'm looking forward to 40. It's going to be my prime.
Okay, if you say so. I got lots of things to do before 40. Lots of risk to take. Let's tie it all together. All right. We'll see you guys next time.